What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F1 My Team Career Mode. Last time out, we were at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola, and despite the fact that at one point we were running in the very lofty heights of P2, we could not hold on to the points, and we ended up finishing P12, which I have to admit I was a little bit disappointed about. I really did think to myself, maybe this is finally going to be my opportunity to bag some points, get a good result, and get back on the board after a number of races that we've been out of the points for. But unfortunately, we only extended our streak of finishing outside of the points. We have had 5 pointless finishes in a row. I was trying to figure out how to phrase that. But at least we've been finishing the races, which is something that is in stark contrast to last season, where we had a number of DNFs. I think we had 8 DNFs over the course of the season or something like that. We haven't had any so far this season. Now, you might think I'm tempting fate here, but hopefully it will be all right, and we will be able to get a good result here in Monaco regardless. If you remember back to last video, if you watched it, you may remember that I said I actually was pretty optimistic about my chances of scoring points here in Monaco, and my reasoning for that is simple. It's a very driver-dependent track, you know? Unlike some of the other tracks that are just lots of long straights and stuff like that, here it really is dependent on how well you are capable of driving the track. And for that reason, I think if I can get a good result in qualifying, it should be very easy for us to score some points, because then we can just defend basically for the whole race. And yeah, I'm hoping that that as long as we can get into the top 10 in qualifying, which obviously we're going to be targeting anyway, we should be capable of scoring at least a few points here. Now, practice was interesting, but maybe not for the reason you might expect. It was actually because Dennis Hauger was all the way up in P12. I was very, very happy with that. You know, obviously only if he can convert that form into some quali pace, but he was a lot further ahead of us. I still felt like I had the potential to be pretty fast. You know, my initial runs on those medium compound tyres were sort of, you know, tyre saving runs and stuff like that. So I definitely didn't showcase all the pace I had around this circuit, but definitely I want to be a lot higher than 21st when it comes to qualifying. We are going to be choosing one more upgrade to go on the car, which I don't think will make it on in time for Canada, which is now the next race, but it will be on in time for Austria, hopefully, which means that by the time we get to Austria, we're going to have a number of upgrades, which, I mean, ideally we'd have engine upgrades by that point, but I don't think we're going to be able to upgrade the engine facility for a few races yet, so it's still going to be just only aero and chassis upgrades we're able to do between now and then. But, you know, it is what it is, and hopefully by the halfway point in the season we will have that engine facility upgrade, and we'll be starting to do some engine upgrades as well. All I know is that, you know, we're making big moves. But, yeah, as we make it into qualifying, the target is simple. We're going to make it through to Q2, and then we're going to make it through to Q3, and then anything we can do after that is a big, big bonus. But as we set our first flying lap of Q1 on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, it's only a 1:11.5. which I'm feeling like I might have to improve on to make it out of Q1. And indeed, I would have been right to make that assumption, because we were down in P17 with that lap. Fortunately, I managed to find a bit more pace, and we crossed the line. It's a 1:11.2, and that is good enough to see us through to Q2, but only in P12. So we might have our work cut out for us a little bit here, I think, if we want to make it through into Q3. We're really going to have to step things up another gear from here. Now, where is Dennis Hauger? He's P15. He's made it through to Q2, and I am very happy with that. He beats out the likes of Joe, Sonoda, Sargent De Vries, Hulkenberg, and Fittipaldi, and makes it through into Q2 for the first time this season, if I'm not mistaken. He definitely has had a few Q2 appearances before, but yeah, I am incredibly enamored with that. Congratulations, Dennis Hauger. You've done a fantastic job, and hopefully he will be able to go even further than that, maybe. Now, look down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen as I embark on this first flying lap of Q2 on a used set of soft compound tyres, and you will see that I have 17 laps worth of fuel in the car. Now, that is something that has been going on for the entirety of qualifying, as it turns out. So all the 3 laps I've done so far, I had massively overloaded on fuel, which means that now as I make it through into the second flying lap on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, I'm now running a much more respectable, I think, 2 or 3 laps of fuel on the car, which means that, you know, making up time was fairly easy, and we actually improved by over 7/10 over the course of the lap. So as we come on the run to the line, it's a 1:10.3, and that is good enough to see us through to Q3 in P3. Goodness me. Okay, that was a lot better than I was expecting. I thought we would improve maybe up to like P7 or P8. I did not see P3 coming there. But yeah, Dennis Hauger eliminated there in P14. Disappointing for him, but I think he's done a pretty good job regardless. Myself in P3, I'm very happy with that. But eliminated there, along with Hauger, is Sainz, Gasly, Albon, Leclerc, and Lawson. Goodness me, what a crazy improvement that was. I feel like if I was on a slightly lower difficulty, we could have got even higher there potentially. I don't remember where the McLarens were. I think they might have dipped into the 109s, but I think I might be able to dip into the 109s here as well, honestly. First flying lap of Q3 is on a used set of soft compound tyres, so unsurprisingly it's only into the 110.5s, but that's still pretty good. And yeah, we will see now as we make our way onto the final flying lap of Q3 that we are improving quite significantly on another fresh set of soft compound tyres, but where will it be good enough for? We can't be any lower than 9th, but perhaps we can improve. We've got to improve by about 4 tenths to beat Bottas here, but I think we are going to improve by that much. There's going to be at least P6, and as we come on the run to the line, we just dip into the 109s, and it is P5. Okay, I'm not too disappointed with that. I know we were P3 in Q2, but I think that's pretty good.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Norris, Oscar Piastri, and Kevin Magnussen. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Well, that is exactly the qualifying that I was hoping for here, because it means that we are going to be starting P5, and given how fast my starts are on this game, I think that we might be able to make up even more positions than that. Obviously, overtaking even at the start in Monaco is not always easy, but yeah, I definitely could see myself getting P4 here. Maybe there exists a chance of me getting onto the podium, but you know, we're not going to count our chickens before they've hatched. We're just going to try and, first things first, we want to try and consolidate P5. That's the minimum sort of target here, I reckon. If we can bag 10 points here, that would be absolutely massive. But yeah, it remains to be seen what kind of pace we're going to be showing. Maybe the AI will have found a way to overtake. I don't know. We will see what we can do as we get into the Monaco Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863, and of course a certain road race first held in 1929. There is no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco then is not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo, and although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Magnussen, Russell, Robinson, Perez, Bottas, Ocon, Stroll, Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly, Albon, Hauger, Leclerc, Liam Lawson, Joe, Tsunoda, Sargent, De Vries, Hulkenberg, and Enzo Fittipaldi. And now it's time to head down to the track. We welcome once again to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. And how do you mentally prepare yourself for the rush of the opening lap?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Right, we're going to be taking one set of medium tyres and then switching to the hards on lap 19 and hoping that we can make that work to grab us at least P5 here. The one thing that we have to be a little bit cognizant of, I would say, is going to be an undercut or overcut from the cars around us. And that is because I am going to be doing a lot of defending. Probably not very much attacking after the first couple of corners, I would say. and it's just going to be a very simple case of making sure I absolutely nail the strategy so I don't lose position through the pit stop phase. We get a good parking, which should give us good stead to maybe jump a few cars off the start, but we will see what happens. It's not nailed on. As long as I can hold on to P5, everything else is just a bonus from there on. We got the McLaren starting on the front row, Magnussen and Russell in the row directly ahead of us. What can we do as the lights come on here in Monaco? And the lights go out, and we've gotten away very well compared to Russell and Magnussen there, and we are up into P3 off of the start. That is exactly what I was hoping would happen. I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but that is a fantastic start for us, and we are onto the podium here in Monaco. And I mean, this has gone from being one of my least favourite circuits on the calendar to honestly being one of my favourites, just for how great the potential to get a victory or a podium here has become. Whether we can actually challenge these guys in front of me, I think it's unlikely, but even just going for the podium is a fantastic achievement in itself in a car like this. You know, we have been scrabbling around just outside of the points for the last 5 races in a row, and I would say that there is basically no chance that we are going to get swamped in the same way that we've been getting swamped every single race before this. You know, Canada, we might go back to business as usual. We do have a few upgrades coming on for there, but yeah, it might just be another case of lots of cars overtaking us constantly. But for this race and this race only, we're going to be flying high here in P3, and we're going to do everything we can to keep the cars behind us at bay. It's Kevin Magnussen, then it's Valtteri Bottas, I believe, actually in P5, and George Russell is P6. So, yeah, we definitely do have some fast chargers behind us, but I am still going to do everything in my power that I can to try and keep them at bay. As we move on to lap 2 now, and yeah, you can see that the gap in front has already extended by over a second. So I'm not getting any DRS to help me here. Piastri has taken off and left me in the dust, as has Norris for that matter, leading the race, probably on his way to his first win at the Principality. And yeah, maybe trying to get themselves back in the championship fight, the two McLarens. They're definitely contenders. Piastri won the last race in Imola, of course, as Russell took a grid penalty. But I believe Russell is still leading the Drivers' Championship. It's going to take a lot from these guys to be able to catch him. To think that I was suggesting in that first race that I might be in the championship fight, how deluded I was. We haven't actually scored points since then, and this would be a fantastic opportunity to do just that. But we have to make sure that we can keep the Aston Martin of Kevin Magnussen behind us for the ensuing laps if we want any chance of making that dream come true. The cars behind us are not really closing in on us too much at the moment, though. You know, as we move through Anthony Nogues there, you can see that Magnussen is 0.8 of a second behind us. He will have DRS on this lap, most likely, if he can stay with us, but I don't think we have to worry about it too much. It's not that powerful on this track. We move now towards the end of lap 7 and onto the beginning of lap 8. And we have done a very good job of keeping Magnussen behind us so far. He hasn't really put any surmountable pressure on me, I would say, and yeah, he's just kind of been been just chilling there, biding his time in P4, waiting for me to make a mistake maybe so he can pounce. But yeah, generally, I think it's Rascast that's helping me here. I'm getting a much better exit from Rascast than the AI are, and that is allowing me to be significantly ahead of them into the DRS zone once we go through Anthony Nogues, which is meaning they can't really catch me by the time we get to Saint-Devote. And so yeah, by the time we get to lap 14, Magnussen is still having the same issues he was having before, and we are just absolutely chilling here in P3. But that's all we need to be doing, you know. We don't need to overcomplicate things. We can just stay where we are and not worry about it too much. And just pump in as many consistent laps as we can, try not to make too many mistakes, and everything should be fine. Magnussen is a little bit closer on this occasion. I don't know if he's going to maybe look and go for a move into Saint-Devote here. I think he's just a little bit too far behind, fortunately for us. And yeah, we retain P3 for the time being. He's chasing me all the way up the hill into Massenet as well. He's going to be right on my tail, but not quite close enough to go for a move on lap 15. Lap 17, he is hounding me through the swimming pool chicane, and as we go into Rascast, we are super close, and he's gone into the back of me, and he's out of the race. I think he just missed his braking point ever so slightly. We'll see what happened from my perspective there as well now. You can see what it looked like to me. As we come into Rastcast, we just brake, and he just goes straight into the back of us. You know, I didn't even feel like I broke that early, but there is a safety car, and I did very well to react as quickly as I did there to get into the pits. We were only 2 laps out of a pit stop anyway, so it was basically a no-brainer that this was the right time to pit. And I don't think this is going to gain us any positions, but if we hadn't have pitted, we probably would have lost 10 or more positions, I reckon. That's how drastic that would have been. Hopefully myself and Hauger were far enough apart that he can pit with minimal complications as well. We can do the double stack. Most teams doing a double stack. If we've timed it right, then that actually might play nicely into Dennis Hauger's hands. He might be able to jump some other cars who were slightly closer together on track, as they also double stacked. Basically everyone pitted on that lap. So yeah, I think at the moment Hauger is in like P13 or 14, something like that. We actually got caught up behind the safety car here for a bit, because I think it was while the leaders were in the pits. It just for some reason wouldn't let me overtake it. But eventually it does let us overtake it. And before we get back onto the restart, while we're still under safety car conditions, Nick De Vries at the back of the field retires with a mechanical problem. So unfortunate for him, but that will be the end of his race. And yeah, the safety car coming in at the end of lap 21 here. So we're going to have 17 laps to push on these hards to make sure we can hold on to this P3. Maybe I could try and challenge Piastri for P2, but honestly, I think it would just be better to try and just consolidate what we've got, and yeah, hopefully we can grab our second podium of the season. As you see, De Vries retiring there in the live view, and yeah, we've gotten away nicely enough that Bottas hasn't put any immediate pressure on us. So I think we should be good to just try and keep up this operation defense that we've been doing for the last 22 laps. Of course, initially it was against Kevin Magnussen for the safety car. Now the car that is starring in the role of attacker is going to be Valtteri Bottas in that Mercedes. We'll see whether he is able to make it past me or not. We're actually doing quite well to stick to the back of Oscar Piastri here, but this is the part of the track I'm probably fastest in compared to the AI. Once we get into the next couple of sectors, it's going to be business as usual, and they should start to pull away from me, I would imagine. If we can still be behind Piastri by less than a second when the DRS gets enabled, that would be fantastic. But I don't personally think that is going to happen. As we make our way through to back corner into the final sector of the lap, I think that yeah, you can see they are now over a second ahead. There's Nick De Vries off to the side of the road, and yeah, I think this is just going to be a case of consolidating our P3. Bottas, of course, is on the faster medium compound of tyres, so he probably will pose a slightly larger threat to me than Kevin Magnussen posed when we were both on mediums before. But of course Bottas started on the hards here, so I think he'll be a bit of a bigger adversary. And well, that proved to be true here towards the end of lap 28 and the start of lap 29, as I got a bad exit from Anthony Nogues and I allowed Bottas to come alongside me. He was almost a full car length ahead by the time he got to the Saint-Devote. So we were wheel to wheel going up the hill and into Massenet. But I actually tried to go for an attack on there, and that left me susceptible to Perez. It's kind of that, you know, they smell blood and they all go for it. But into Mirabeau, I'm going to try and get back up the inside of Bottas. I almost crashed into the barrier there, but we retake P3 on track. I thought that was done. I thought my P3 was over there, but you know, I just I didn't give up belief. I believed in myself to make that overtake. We very nearly binned it completely, but we are still in the race. But someone who is not still in the race as of lap 30 is Carlos Sainz, whose engine is blowing up, and this is going to be a position gain for Dennis Hauger, who was in P13 at this moment. So that will upgrade him into P12, and that's Verstappen, I believe, who has just crashed into the back of Sainz and broken off a lot of his front wing. So that might be another position gain for Hauger, as Verstappen has got to pit there. So yeah, Hauger now in P11, just one position away from the points, and hounding, I believe, Pierre Gasly over the final position. It could be Esteban Ocon. It's one of the Alpines. That's all I know. Lap 35, only a few laps left to go, and well, that one pressure from Bottas was about as extreme as it had got up until this point. Now we're just kind of cruising, biding our time, and hoping that we can hold on to this podium. It'll be our second podium of the season, and I mean our only points finishes of the season would be third place finishes. And as we round the final corner onto lap 39, you can see that I've still maintained the position without any real troubles. Yes, Bottas has been getting close. He's been at times just a tenth or two behind me, but never alongside or ahead of me at any moment. And that means that we are probably going to be all right here. As Norris heads home Piastri to make it a McLaren 1-2. We have done an absolutely stellar job of defending here today. You know, in a time when it's not really possible for our car to even be scoring points, we have gone one further than that, and we've managed to get our car up onto the podium. And as we come on the run to the line, we're going to take a hard-fought P3 here at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yes,
you know, Bottas tried his hardest to get onto the podium there, but he couldn't quite do it. Well, it means that we are back on track to try and grab that 100 points by the end of the season, and maybe, just maybe, we can still do it.
What a fantastic Grand Prix that was, and an excellent win for McLaren. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Well, this will make McLaren very happy and Mercedes very unhappy, as the orange team pick up a 1-2 here in the Principality, and well, it doesn't get any better than that for a team. I'm just happy to be here, quite frankly, after the season we've had. I think that, you know, I thought that points were possible here, but I didn't expect this. So I'm very happy with that, and hopefully we can continue the momentum when we get into Canada.
So let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Some amazing talent out there on track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I think for driver of the day, I'd probably pick Lando Norris. He lived up to every inch of his reputation today, and I think he'll be going home, quite rightly, a bit proud of himself.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren supplant the previous leaders, taking control of the championship. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, as Mercedes' woes continue for another race as they only get P4 and P8, that has allowed McLaren, who took a 1-2 here, to jump them and move into the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Isn't that something that is rather unexpected? But in any case, we have actually made up one position in both the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship, as well as, yeah, we've grabbed a pretty strong P3 here. So we're up into P6 ahead of Alpine once again. They didn't have the best of weekends here. Actually, I could make an argument for this being the strongest weekend that our team has ever had. Realistically, we had absolutely no chance of winning this race. But or even being sort of close to this. So to get a P3, I think, is a fantastic result. And also, Hauger was just 1 point away from being in the points, or sorry, 1 position away from being in the points, I should say. So he's also done an absolutely amazing job to be able to get P11 there. And hopefully, maybe this is the start of not only the team but also Hauger turning a bit of a corner, and maybe we can expect some more sort of upper midfield, maybe even into the points kind of performances from him, as well, maybe I'm going to start being a consistent points fixture now that we're going to get some upgrades on the car for Canada. I think once we get that engine spec upgrade coming in and get some engine upgrades on the car, we should be looking very good for the remainder of the season. So hopefully once we get past that halfway point in the season, we should be contending for points on a regular basis. You know, I haven't forgot about the target of 100 points by the end of the season. 16 races to go. We've still got to grab 70 points. So it's still about, what, almost 4.5 points per race that we've got to pick up on average. So it's got to be about, you know, P7, P8 roughly every race on average. But I mean, if we just pick up a few podiums here and there and then don't finish in the points, other than that, we should be absolutely fine to get this sponsorship target. So maybe I shouldn't worry so much. In any case, this has been it's been a really, really good race, and I'm immensely happy. And I just hope that it's not a one-off. I think it could be a one-off, and if it is for the next few races, that's fine, I guess. But yeah, very, very pleased. And hopefully when the upgrades come on for the following race in Canada, it will only continue to make us even stronger. But I guess that remains to be seen. Hauger, a very impressive weekend from him. Very, very happy with his performance. I think finally he has turned a corner after a few disappointing results this season so far. You know, obviously he had a decent one in Miami, but apart from that, it's not really been the season I've wanted from him so far. But this one really impressed me. That is going to be it for this video, however. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.